All right, some major earthquakes hitting. I'm going to share with you the latest as we're hearing about 7.4s, 7.1s, 5.8 magnitude earthquakes hitting over and over and over in succession. And in addition to that, tsunami warnings being triggered and some pretty interesting things coming out from scientists. That's fascinating. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so you can see it for yourself here. Now, Russia hit with 4 earthquakes today in short succession. This coming out today, September the 15th, 2025. 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes near the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka region. There was no immediate reports of injuries or major damage. Magnitude 7.1 earthquake strikes near the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka region. The Pacific Tsunami warning system said there was a threat of possible tsunami from the earthquake. We're hearing about new tsunami warnings that were issued as a result of these earthquakes hitting in Russia. And take a look at this. This is very fascinating. Now, mapping Kamchatka earthquake displacement. We're hearing that the Kamchatka island actually has shifted as a result of these powerful earthquakes that are shaking. But that's not all. They're actually saying if you feel like the days are getting shorter, well, you might actually be right. In fact, not only was the island shifted, they're saying the axis of the Earth might have wobbled, and we might be seeing slightly shorter days as a result of the earthquakes that are shaking the Earth. Absolutely fascinating. They're saying the days might actually be getting shorter as a result of the shaking from these massive earthquakes. Let me know your thoughts. Do you feel like time is moving faster? Well, take a look at this. We're hearing as well that scientists are saying that the tectonic plate movement, the earthquakes, the volcanoes, the tsunami threats, everything that's occurring, they're saying the geomagnetic storms that are taking place from the sun's coronal mass ejections could be causing it. And I let you know about this as soon as we had seen those reports issued out back in March of 2025. They're saying the sun is causing the earth to tremble. Let me know your thoughts. Now, in addition to that, take a look at this coming out yesterday. India's northeast is hit by a 5.8 magnitude earthquake, but no damage has been reported. But yet another massive earthquake we're seeing in another part of the world. In addition to that, a 3.7 magnitude earthquake jolts San Luis Obispo County. Earthquake, first earthquake of the month rumbles under part of South Carolina. That's felt lots of tremors recently. A 3.6 magnitude earthquake felt across San Diego County. And also take a look coming out today, a 2.4 magnitude earthquake shakes near Holtville, California, September the 15th, 2025. And all you got to do right now is Google search earthquake and you will see 7.4, 6.0, 5.5, 5.4, all within roughly the last 48 hours. Earthquake after earthquake striking, tsunami alerts being issued. Now we're hearing that was waived after that 7.4, the 7.1 that hit. However, it is just like the entire Pacific Ring of Fire right now is trembling nonstop. Major earthquakes, tsunami warnings, volcano eruptions, and also entire islands shifting, and the axis of the Earth wobbling off track as well. Now they're saying it's very minute and minor, just a very small amount, but yet they're saying in reality we might be experiencing a shift in shorter days and time because the axis of the Earth actually wobbled from these powerful earthquakes that are striking. Absolutely incredible. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to dive into the details. As I mentioned, today we're hearing 4 earthquakes have struck just in Russia alone, and these are massive magnitude earthquakes. What do you think is going on here? Now, I had initially had people DMing me when we had that 8.8 that struck that caused that tsunami alert, and we've seen just earthquake after earthquake since then. I believe that was at the end of July. A lot of people telling me that was due to an underground nuclear test detonation that took place. And as you know, right now, things are intensifying with Russia. Stay tuned to the channel because I'm letting you know about the conflicts that are taking place as we're hearing that Article 4 for NATO has actually been initiated, as there are concerns that we could be going into World War III with Russia right now. And there's concerns about nuclear war, nuclear testing with Russia and Belarus going on, nuclear flexing. Some are saying the earthquake that was caused was an underground nuclear test that went bad. Do you think that's what it was? Or do you think that it's from the sun causing the tectonic plates to move, the magnetic fields? People were messaging me saying this is God sending us a warning, and others saying this is all man-made, manipulated weather control. Which one do you think it is? If you think that this is just natural, put a 1. If you think this is God, put a 2. If you think this was a nuclear detonation, put a 3. If you think this is weather control, put a 4. Drop them in the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I'm going to dive into the latest articles, share with you what has been going on in the past 48 hours with major earthquakes, the ring of fire, tsunami alerts, and a shift of tectonic plates that is causing the axis of the Earth to wobble. Now, as we dive into this, I'm going to put these on the screen, read right from them. They're also hyperlinked in the description. I try to cite all the sources, hold myself to the highest level of accountability here on the channel, so that way you can know and rest assured that this is the latest information. Now, if you appreciate that, do me a favor. Before we dive in, please take a quick second. Hit that thumbs up like button. Just helps out the channel while we're live, spreads this out further across the YouTube platform. I appreciate it a ton. Now, in addition to that, if you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on, like I said, we've got earthquakes taking place all over the world, global conflict, concerns of nuclear war, World War III, an assortment of different things. In fact, just moments ago, stay tuned to the channel because I'm probably going to do a live stream on this later today, a second one. We heard that another boat was struck in the Gulf, I believe it was, for another boat that was coming from Venezuela. Trump saying that they struck another one. It was drug trafficking, and he has also said they're not taking off of the table potential strikes to Venezuela's mainland. So new war threats coming out as well. So I'm going to keep you up to date on all that. I'm going to do some research, get my articles and information together, and do another live stream here in a bit. But I'm going to keep you up to speed on everything. So to stay up to date, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free. I cite all the sources and share with you the latest information coming out. But let's go ahead and get right to it so that way you can see the latest unfolding with these earthquakes that are happening all over the world. So first up, this coming out today, Russia was hit with 4 earthquakes today in short succession, the USGS has reported. Now this article says that the U.S. Geological Survey on Monday recorded 3 separate earthquakes in Russia's Far East in short succession, according to the USGS event page for the 3 shocks. A 4th was later recorded as well. Now here's why it matters. The cluster's timing and proximity of the quakes raise questions about the potential seismic sequences in one of the world's most geologically volatile regions. Now, Kamchatka sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic activity frequently triggers earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Now, the latest tremors underscore the need for continued monitoring and preparedness in a region with limited access and infrastructure, and why this is so concerning right now, as well as we're going to be reading here in just a second. You think this is Russia, the other side of the Pacific, but this seismic activity, the earth shaking over there, causes the waves of the Pacific to potentially cause tsunami waves from Hawaii to the west coast of the United States, all the way across. Now, was there an earthquake in Russia today? Here's what we know. 3 moderate earthquakes struck off of the coast of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula early on Monday today, shaking the same offshore region within a 2-hour window and drawing attention to heightened seismic activity in the North Pacific. Now, the first and strongest quake with a magnitude 5.2 hit at 12:06 a.m. Universal Coordinated Time, 63 miles east of the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, at a depth of 21.8 miles, according to the USGS data. About an hour later, a magnitude 4.6 earthquake followed roughly 57 miles east-northeast of the same city, registering at a depth of 35.3 miles. A third quake of a magnitude 5.1 struck at 1:39 a.m. UTC, just 57 miles east of the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, with the depth of 37 miles. And a fourth quake of a magnitude 6.3 struck in the same area later on in the day, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. The earthquake occurred at a depth of 10 kilometers and was centered in the South Pacific Ocean. Now, the USGS map display location of quakes. All 3 events, which happened just after noon local time in Russia's Kamchatka region, were reviewed and confirmed by the USGS National Earthquake Information Center. No immediate damage or injuries were reported, and there were no tsunami warnings issued for the quakes today. Now, the clusters, timing, and proximity of the quakes suggested a possible sequence of related seismic events. However, experts have yet to confirm whether they represent a foreshock, main shock, aftershock pattern, or independent ruptures along the same fault zone. Newsweek maps show the location of Monday's earthquakes in relation to the July 30th megaquake that registered a magnitude 8.8. And you can see here, September 15th, the 3 quakes that hit near the Kamchatka Peninsula. And here is the one that hit on July 30th, down here, the epicenter. Now, where is the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky in Russia? Kamchatka, located along the volatile Pacific Ring of Fire, is one of Russia's most seismically active regions. Now, perched on the edge of Ovcha Bay in the Russian Far East, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky is the capital of the Kamchatka Krai and one of the world's most isolated major cities, accessible only by air or sea. The port city is surrounded by snow-capped volcanoes and rugged terrain, adding to its seismic vulnerability inside a tectonically active zone. But despite its isolation, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky remains a hub for scientific and tourists alike. Now, what happens next? Seismologists will continue to monitor the region for aftershocks and analyze the sequence of patterns that could indicate increased seismic risk. So they're going to be keeping an eye on it, and that is a good idea because, as you'll see here in just a second, 3 big quakes around 6.0 hitting today. But take a look in the last 48 hours. 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes near the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka region, and it was also reported 7.1. Let's take a look at this. The tsunami warning system said there was no threat of a possible there was a threat of a possible tsunami for the earthquake. This happening in the last 48 hours. You can see September the 13th. So Russia just being shaken left and right. And the concern is, will this spread across the Pacific? An earthquake of a magnitude 7.1 struck near the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka region on Saturday, the German Research Center for Geosciences said. The quake was at a depth of 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles, the GFZ said. Now, the United States Geological Survey pegged the magnitude 7.4 with a depth of 39.5 miles. The Pacific Tsunami Warning System said there was a threat of a possible tsunami from this earthquake. In Japan, to the southwest of the Kamchatka Peninsula, no tsunami warning has been issued. Broadcaster NHK reported, citing the Japan Meteorological Agency. So there you have it. So this particular one rated it as a 7.1, but as I mentioned, 7.4. Let's take a look at this coming out from the Associated Press. A powerful 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck early Saturday near the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka region, the U.S. Geological Survey reported. The quake's epicenter was 69.3 miles east of the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky and had a depth of 39 kilometers, according to the USGS. There was no immediate reports of injury or damage. And as you can see here, this is the exact same area where we saw those 3 successive earthquakes take place today. The Pacific Tsunami Warning System briefly said there was a threat of a possible tsunami from the earthquake, but then changed it to no tsunami threat or warning on its website. Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula was hit by at least 5 powerful quakes, the largest with a magnitude 7.4 on July 20th. Days later, a powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake in the region triggered tsunami warnings in Japan, the United States, and in Russia as well. So major quakes hitting Russia, and it is spreading across the Pacific. And here you can see mapping Kamchatka earthquake displacement. Now, it says Earth's surface may seem stable and unchanging, but it is anything but static. The tectonic plates that make up the planet's rigid outer layer are like puzzle pieces that squeeze and grind against each other, often slowly but sometimes in violent, shuddering jolts that we know as earthquakes. After an earthquake, seismometers are among the first tools scientists look to for information. Global networks of these ground-based sensors measure vibrations in the Earth's crust and upper mantle and are used to identify locations of the epicenter and the intensity of the shaking. However, seismic networks have limits. In some cases, they cannot measure the extent of a rupture with great accuracy, especially in areas where local seismic networks are sparse. A newer remote sensing technique called interferometric synthetic aperture radar, or INSAR, helps fill in these gaps. In August of 2025, for instance, the technique measured ground displacement along with signs of impending volcanic activity after a major earthquake rattled the Kamchatka Peninsula in eastern Russia. INSAR provides measurements of displacement, the shifting of the ground away from or towards the satellite, across hundreds of square kilometers. First developed in the 1980s, the method enables scientists to map earthquake ruptures with a precision impossible from seismic networks alone by comparing two or more SAR images taken before and after the quake. The map above shows the amount of ground displacement caused by a powerful earthquake that struck offshore the peninsula on July 29th of 2025. Red areas were pushed primarily eastward by the magnitude 8.8 event, one of the strongest recorded by modern seismic instruments. Dashed lines highlight the key fault and plate boundaries in the region. Small white patches in the southern part of the peninsula are areas where the displacement could not be measured. So let's take a look at that map once again. The red area is areas that have shifted. The satellite measured an eastward and slightly downward shift in the ground. And so we're hearing that the Earth is shifting and moving along the surface, and as a result, it is displacing weight. And like I said, we actually heard reports of a wobbling taking place for the axis. And so they are saying now with this new technology, with these satellites, they're able to determine the shift of the Earth that is actually taking place. And they're saying that the Earth is anything but static. We are seeing a lot of movement. Now, as I mentioned, we're hearing that coronal mass ejections, activity from the sun, is what is causing a lot of this. Do you agree? Do you think that's what it is? If so, put yes. If no, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But this theory coming out 2025 March, scientists saying they believe the sun is causing the Earth to tremble. Now, in addition to that, we also saw, take a look at this, India's northeast is hit by a 5.8 magnitude earthquake, but no damage is reported, luckily. But yet another major earthquake, almost a 6.0. And in a second here, we're going to be taking a look at some of the earthquakes that are hitting in California and South Carolina as well in the United States. Now, this article coming out in the last 24 hours says a 5.8 magnitude earthquake struck India's northeastern Assam state on Sunday yesterday, sending tremors throughout the region, officials said. Now, there were no immediate reports of any damage. The quake had a depth of 5 kilometers, and its epicenter was in the town of Udalguri, according to India's National Center for Seismology. Terrified residents rushed outside of their homes in Guwahati and the state's capital. Northern India is highly seismic. It lies on a major geological fault line where the Indian tectonic plate pushes up into the Eurasian plate, forming the Himalayas. The region is prone to earthquakes. So another major earthquake. And oh, here at the top of the screen, you can see, as I mentioned to you, the breaking news. The U.S. strikes another alleged Venezuelan drug boat, killing 3, Trump has said. So stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to get you some updates here later on. Right now, let's stay focused, though, on the earthquakes and the seismic tectonic plate movement taking place. 3.7 magnitude earthquake jolts San Luis Obispo County. Here's where it was located. This happening in the last 48 hours. A 3.7 magnitude earthquake jolted San Luis Obispo County on Saturday night. The quake was located 4 miles west of Atascadero, south of Highway 49, about a third of the way toward Morro Bay, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Now, in the area, the quake started as a low rumble followed by a sharp snap. The quake, which occurred at 7:50 p.m., was recorded at a depth of 6.7 kilometers and was felt from Lake Nacimiento to Arroyo Grande. And here you can see the impact of that quake. And it reads, a 3.7 earthquake jolted San Luis Obispo County on Saturday, September the 13th, 2025. It was located 4 miles from that area. So there you have it, you guys. One hitting as well in San Luis Obispo. And also coming out today, the first earthquake of the month rumbles under a part of South Carolina that felt lots of tremors. Now, seismic activity returns to South Carolina over the weekend as an earthquake was recorded in the area that's recently experienced lots of tremors. The Palmetto State's first earthquake of September was a 1.7 magnitude quake at 8:28 p.m. Saturday, according to the South Carolina Emergency Management Division. The earthquake was near Ware Shoals, which is the Greenwood County area where 16 quakes were confirmed in a 10-day span in August. South Carolina Department of Natural Resources Geological Survey data has shown. Saturday night's earthquake was recorded near the surface of the ground, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Prior to this weekend's seismic activity, the most recent tremors in South Carolina was a 2.0 magnitude earthquake that hit the Greenwood County area on August 27th, USGS data shows. There were 2 earthquakes in North Carolina earlier last week, with one just north of the state line with South Carolina in the Roseman area, according to the USGS. Now, there have now been 29 confirmed earthquakes in South Carolina in 2025. There were 30 confirmed earthquakes last year in South Carolina after 28 quakes were recorded in 2023, according to the State Department of Natural Resources. So quakes happening left and right, and also some intense high magnitude earthquakes taking place all over the world. And another one in San Diego, 3.6 magnitude earthquake felt across San Diego, this coming out September 13th. Residents reported feeling a small earthquake that struck the eastern San Diego County Saturday evening. The United States Geological Survey recorded it as a 3.6 magnitude earthquake that struck at 7:02 p.m. on Saturday at a depth of 7.3 kilometers between Pine Valley and Juliana in East County. Now it says residents across San Diego County and Chula Vista all the way to Oceanside reported feeling weak and light shaking, with the latest earthquake happening Saturday night. And you can see the impacts of that right over by the Mexico border. So, man, a lot of earthquakes. The earthquake was followed by at least 2 aftershocks, a 1.4 magnitude and a 1.2 magnitude, both also near Pine Valley. So there you have it, yet another one that's taking place. And take a look at this, a 2.4 magnitude earthquake as well shakes near Holtville, California, September 15th, this coming out today. Let's take a look at this, Imperial County, around that same area. The USGS reported that a preliminary 2.4 magnitude earthquake shook and occurred near Holtville around midday Monday today. The tremor, which struck the area at 12:35 p.m., was centered roughly 4 miles west-southwest of Holtville. It occurred at a depth of 10 miles. Seismologists first reported it as a 2.6 event, but later downgraded it to a 2.4. Did you feel it? If you felt the earthquake, you can submit a report through the USGS Felt Report form. Quakes past week. Last week, there have been 3 earthquakes of magnitude 2.5 or above centered nearby. The strongest was a 3.0 magnitude tremor, struck close to Progresso, BC, 2 days earlier. The 3 largest earthquakes nearby in the last week was a 3.0 near Progresso, September 13th, a 2.9 in Progresso, September 13th, and a 2.6 northeast of Delta, September 11th. What to know about these earthquakes? Magnitude measures the energy released at the source of the earthquake, the U.S. Geological Survey has said. It replaces the old Richter scale. Quakes between 2.5 and 5.4 magnitude are often felt but rarely cause much damage, according to Michigan Tech. Earthquakes below 2.5 magnitude are seldom felt by most people. Earthquakes' sudden, rapid shaking can cause fires, tsunamis, landslides, or avalanches. They can happen anywhere, but are most common in Alaska, California, Hawaii, Oregon, Puerto Rico, and Washington, according to the Department of Homeland Security, and all of those are around that Pacific Ring of Fire. Now, it is estimated that there are 500,000 detectable earthquakes in the world each year. 100,000 of those can be felt. 100 of them can cause damage. What do you do during an earthquake if you experience one? If an earthquake strikes, it's best to protect yourself right away. Here are the tips from experts. If you're in a car, pull over and stop, set your parking brake. If you're in bed, turn face down and cover your head with the pillow. If you're outdoors, stay away from buildings, do not go inside. If you're inside, stay and don't run outdoors. Stay away from doorways. The best way to protect yourself during an earthquake is to drop, cover, and hold on, officials say. Wherever you are, drop down to your hands and knees and hold on to something sturdy. If you're using a wheelchair or a walker with a seat, make sure your wheels are locked and remain seated until the shaking stops. Be sure to cover your head and your neck with your arms and crawl under a sturdy table if possible. If no shelter is available, crawl to an interior wall away from windows. Once under a table, officials say you should hold on with one hand and be ready to move with it. Now, there can be serious hazards after an earthquake, such as damages to buildings, leaking gas, water lines, or down power lines. Expect aftershocks to follow the main shock of an earthquake. Be ready to drop, to cover, and to hold on if you feel the aftershocks. So those are the warnings coming out, letting people know what to do with all of these earthquakes that have been taking place. Just a good reminder for those that are in those areas. So let me know your thoughts again in the comments. Do you think that we're going to be seeing more major quakes here? Some major 8.0, 7.0. We saw 8.8. You think we're going to have some more big ones before the year is out? We still got about 3 months left, and man, still having tsunami warnings, volcanic eruptions, and hearing that 8.8 actually wobbled the axis of the Earth, and scientists are saying they believe could be shortening the time of the days. Man, let me know your thoughts in the comments. But that is the latest, you guys. I'll be sure to keep you up to date as more unfolds, and man, say a prayer for our world. Drop a praying hands in the comments. If you're a praying individual and you believe that prayer works like I do, say a prayer for everything that's going on right now. And do me a favor, if you haven't done so yet, I see we got over 3,000 people on with me live. Hit that like button. Help spread this out further. Just takes a second. I appreciate it a ton. Subscribe to stay up to date. And as always, all the articles I'm referencing, they are hyperlinked in the description below so you can read it, see the dates, the sources, and see it for yourself. Rest assured and know that this is the latest. But that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I see those prayer hands pouring in. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless. I'll catch you in the next one.